Hi there, my name is Derek Forgy. I was born and raised here in Mattawa. Much of my immediate family still lives here, and some of my oldest and closest friends still do. I also happen to be an Ontario resident and a Canadian taxpayer, and that gives me the right to talk about this. The empty space you see behind me here is where the Trans-Canada Hotel once stood, until it was taken from us by fire in 1997. I can still remember the smell, actually. Up until that point, I didn't know that it stood here for 100 years, and it was also considered to be a Northern Ontario landmark. I didn't learn that until it burnt down. This, as you know, is St. Anne's Church. Its predecessor, the one that was here before this, stood here proudly for 100 years and was considered to be the envy of the region. It was also taken from us by fire. The empty space you see over my shoulder here is where the old town hall used to be. It stood for 130 years, 130 Mattawa winters and a few tornadoes. The tragedy here, this wasn't taken from us by accident or fire. It was taken down by a decision. Which brings me to this. The old Mattawa Hospital, built in 1904. Still standing, it is arguably the most historically significant building Mattawa has left. If one was so inclined, one could make the argument that with the loss of the other historically significant buildings, this hospital as a historical landmark has never been more valuable than it is now. Let me explain. This is my wedding ring. Now, technically, I could take this down to Duval's and he could, appraise it for me and write down a number of what it's worth and hand it to me, and I could take that number and look at it and go, oh, that's interesting. But the reality is, if I was to ever misplace this ring, I can guarantee you I would happily pay 20 times its amount to get it back. That's the tragedy, isn't it? We don't really realize how important things are until they're gone, and then it's too late. Now, because these buildings no longer exist, you might be thinking to yourselves, what's the point in discussing them, right? Wrong. Whenever we lose something that we can't replace, be it through accident or oversight or act of nature or whatever, the only thing we get as payment is knowledge, wisdom on how to make sure it doesn't happen again. If the town of Mattawa was a person, this would be her face. That skyline is still intact. I say we keep it that way. Out of respect for over 100 years of history and an irreplaceable skyline, I am hereby proposing to Town Council of Mattawa that they postpone any demolition of any sort to the Mattawa Old Hospital for 6 months. During this time, I would like to propose that the newly formed Heritage Committee work closely with City Council to explore thoroughly every possible angle for federal historical protection. All of us need to work harder, dig deeper, and think clearer. Once we do something hasty, there's no turning back. Respectfully, Derek Forgy. Thank you very much for your time.